I believe that talent development really hasn't changed in the past 50 years. Hello everyone, my name is Dave Elser and welcome to my next AI Chore Cast, in which I leverage AI to help us think differently about talent development and getting ahead at work. So are you ready? Because it's time to do the chores. Now I know what some of you are thinking, well Dave, that's not necessarily true. I mean, we have remote learning now. Well, for those of you that grew up in the 1980s, you probably remember a show called Captain Kangaroo. If not, Google it and you could probably find it online. But Captain Kangaroo practiced remote learning. There was a section in his episode where he would have the kids pull out a participant manual that you had to order and buy, and they would ship it to you. And you would follow along with that participant manual why he hosted, a training session on some particular topic that was important to Captain Kangaroo, I guess. So, but what has not changed is the whole paradigm, the whole leadership paradigm, the whole leader-centric paradigm. And that is what we're going to kind of talk about today when we talk and move more about Talent Development 2.0. I know talking about Talent Development 2.0 has a lot of people scratching their heads. And I'll be honest with you, after working in talent development on approaching, 3 decades, I really had a light bulb moment when I discovered people like Dr. Robert Kelly talking about followership, when I discovered Joseph C. Ross, leadership for the 21st century, Matthew Chudkowsky, replacing the word leader with the word collaborator and thoroughly defining what leadership is. Yeah, it's been a truly light bulb aha moment for me. And once you see it, well, you can't unsee it. And that's the whole point of these AI Chore Casts. I'm trying to usher others into leveraging Talent 2.0. And the main reason why is because with AI, talent development is going to have to change, because we are no longer going to be able to be the sole creators, and training is not going to come top down out to the field. Training is going to be in the moment, and it's not going to be leader-centric. No, it's going to be role-centric. And you know what? We're going to do a deep dive today, and we're going to learn a little bit about this. We're going to learn a little bit about where did Talent Development 1.0 come from? Spoiler alert, it came from a Harvard Business Review article by Abraham Zeleznik. I don't think I said his name right, I apologize, where he wrote an article defining the difference between a manager and a leader. He put manager and leader kind of in competition. And that has been the prominent message in talent development since 1977. But that is all changing because we need to be more role-centric. Quite frankly, AI is driving a lot of this. And also, we need to thoroughly define what leadership is, what management is, and what is smart followership. So I asked AI to look at these resources. I shared a few resources with AI talking about Talent Development 2.0. And I asked AI, where did this come from? Where is this going? And I also did something really unique. I prompt AI to challenge some of the prominent leadership quotes that we see on social media today. And how would those quotes be better served if you had to reword them for Talent Development 2.0? So let's head on off into what they call a deep dive, and let's listen to what AI says about Talent Development 2.0. Oh, spoiler alert, we're actually going to do a little farm analogy because, that's what I do. And this one's kind of interesting. It's going to take you back, or maybe not you back, but it took me back to the farm when I used to have to clean the barn out with manure. So you're going to get a little dose of obviously some farming theme because, hey, that's what I do. But you're going to learn a little bit about a pitchfork, the difference between a pitchfork and a shovel. So let's go ahead and take a deep dive, and I'll talk to you once that's over.
I want you to picture something for a second. You're standing inside a red wooden barn. It's a crisp Saturday morning.
Like setting the scene.
Yeah. And the steers, well, they've just been taken to market. So you're facing this massive cement floor, and it is just completely covered in wet straw and, foul-smelling manure.
Oh, wow. Sounds lovely.
Right. It's a mess. But you want to get this done, so you grab a pitchfork and you just start working with this frantic urgency to clear the muck.
You're just putting your back into it.
Exactly. You're sweating, your muscles are absolutely burning. But with every single scoop, that heavy muck it slips right through the tines.
That is such a visceral image.
Yeah.
I mean, you are pouring your absolute soul into the effort, exhausting yourself.
Yeah.
And the floor just isn't getting any cleaner.
And the frustration is overwhelming. But the crucial thing to realize here for you listening is that the problem isn't your work ethic. It's not your attitude.
Right, your tool.
Exactly. It's the tool. I mean, a pitchfork is an incredibly engineered piece of equipment if you're moving, dry hay.
Yeah.
But for a complex, heavy, messy barn floor, you don't need a pitchfork. You need a shovel.
And that feeling of useless effort,
Right.
Of doing the absolute most and achieving the absolute least, that is exactly what learning and development professionals are experiencing right now.
Spot on.
We're walking into the modern workplace, which is this landscape radically altered by artificial intelligence, flattened hierarchies, and we're basically trying to shovel intelligence-era data with an industrial-era pitchfork.
Yeah. We're trying to navigate the most interconnected workforce in human history using definitions that were, minted when people were still using typewriters.
Yeah.
So today, the mission of this deep dive into our sources, which include David Elser's blog, his book, Doing the Chores, and the pioneering academic work of Joseph C. Rost, Matthew Chodkowski, and Dr. Robert Kelly.
It's a great lineup.
It really is. The mission is to examine that conceptual toolkit. We're going to look at how we can, put down the pitchforks of talent development 1.0 and finally pick up the shovels of talent development 2.0.
Because when the fundamental nature of the work evolves, the frameworks we use to understand it, they have to evolve too. Otherwise, we're just making a bigger mess.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because, nobody goes to the hardware store and buys a broken tool on purpose.
Right.
If the old industrial definitions of leadership and management are so ill-fitting for today's AI-driven workplace, I'm genuinely curious how L&D departments universally adopted them in the first place.
Well, we picked up the pitchfork for a really good reason.
Okay.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Talent Development 1.0 was actually this brilliant, necessary innovation for its time.
Really?
Yeah, think back to the height of the industrial era. Organizations were scaling to unprecedented sizes. Employing tens of thousands of people.
Right, the scale was massive.
Exactly. And to prevent just, total paralyzing chaos, they relied on rigid bureaucracy. They desperately needed a shared language.
A way to categorize people.
Yes. A structured way to separate the people who maintain the system from the people who envision the future.
They needed to create order out of all that industrial sprawl.
Exactly. And a major turning point in that effort actually happened in 1977.
Oh, the HBR article.
Yes, Abraham Zalesnik published this highly influential article in the Harvard Business Review. It was titled, "Managers and Leaders, Are They Different?"
And in 1977, that was probably a huge deal.
It was a breath of fresh air. It gave companies permission to view their people differently. Zalesnik basically portrayed leaders as bold visionaries who could tolerate chaos and drive innovation.
Well, managers were what? The practical ones.
Right. Managers were defined as practical, analytical operators, people who sought order and control.
I can totally see how that would be intoxicating for corporate culture. It essentially creates a superhero narrative.
Oh, 100%.
But over the next, 40 or 50 years, that specific distinction created what our sources call the synonym trap.
The synonym trap, yeah.
We started conflating the leader with the process. We basically decided that leadership was just whatever the leader was doing.
Right. We entirely lost sight of the action, the actual mechanism of people working together. And we just focused obsessively on the traits of one special individual at the top of the org chart.
Yeah, we turned management into the pedantic older sibling who just balances budgets and checks compliance boxes.
While leadership became this mystical, enlightened state of being.
Right. And the unintended consequence of that is that the actual relationship between people, how they interact, how they solve problems, that got pushed completely into the background.
And that leader-centric obsession, It dictates where the money goes.
Oh, for sure.
It's why we historically send a handful of executives to these week-long corporate retreats to, discover their vision.
Meanwhile, the frontline managers get a hastily printed PDF on compliance.
Exactly. The people maintaining the lifeblood of the organization get nothing. It created a caste system that simply cannot survive in a fast-moving intelligence age economy.
So, since those old industrial definitions are clearly breaking down under the weight of modern work, I'm struggling to see what replaces them. I mean, if we strip away the hero narrative, what does talent development 2.0 actually look like?
Well, this is where the work of Joseph C. Rost and Matthew Chodkowski completely disrupts the old model.
Okay.
They offer a new dictionary for L&D. And the biggest, most fundamental paradigm shift they introduce is this. Leadership is not a title.
Not a title.
Not a title. It's not a role. And it is certainly not a position of authority.
Okay, I can already hear the collective gasp of middle management everywhere.
Right.
If leadership isn't authority, what on earth is it?
They define leadership as an interactive, mutual influence relationship. It's among collaborators aiming to enact meaningful change for their mutual benefit.
Mutual influence relationship, so it's not top-down.
Not at all. Think about the mechanics of it. It exists in the space between people. It's an ephemeral relationship that basically sparks into existence when change is needed.
So it relies entirely on influence, not dictation.
Exactly.
Okay, but if leadership is strictly about this fluid relationship of enacting change, where does the day-to-day work actually get done? What happens to management?
Oh, management retains a vital, honorable function. But its boundaries are clearly drawn in this new dictionary.
How so?
Management is an authority relationship. Its purpose is to ensure order, consistency, and efficiency. It's the stewardship of systems.
Okay, that makes sense.
And what makes management actually function in TD 2.0 is the introduction of smart followership. This is a concept pioneered by Dr. Robert Kelly and championed by David Elser.
Smart followership. I have to admit, follower usually feels like a dirty word in corporate circles.
It really does.
It kind of implies being passive or just blindly taking orders.
Which is exactly the stigma Elser and Kelly are trying to break, because smart followership is incredibly active.
Okay, how do they define it?
They define it as the ability and willingness to learn from others, while enthusiastically providing support to achieve shared goals where authority is present.
Oh, so a smart follower isn't a sheep.
No. They're a highly engaged contributor who understands that supporting a manager system is just the best way to achieve the group's goals.
You know, the way you're describing the separation management, keeping order, and leadership being this mutual influence, it really reminds me of a jazz ensemble.
Oh, I like that. Tell me more about that.
Well, in Talent Development 1.0, the company is a classical orchestra, right? You have one conductor, the hero leader on the podium.
Right, holding the baton.
Exactly. They hold the master score, they have the authority, and they dictate every single note and tempo to a passive group of musicians who just execute.
Right.
But in TD 2.0, it operates like a jazz ensemble. You still have structure and order a tempo, a key signature, and that is managed by the rhythm section.
The management and smart followership.
Yes, but the influence is completely fluid. Whoever has the melody in a given moment is leading the change. They're exploring a new musical idea.
And everyone else is mutually influencing them.
Right, supporting, reacting, collaborating. The leadership just passes from the saxophone to the piano to the bass, depending on what the song needs.
That analogy perfectly captures the mechanism. The meaningful change. It emerges from the interaction, not from a single conductor.
But wait, let me pause here. If leadership is this mutual relationship passing around the room, what happens to the followers? Are you saying there are no followers when change is happening?
What's fascinating here is that in TD 2.0, there is absolutely no sustained followership inside leadership.
That feels incredibly counterintuitive.
It does, until you look at the mechanics. According to the sources, once people enter that mutual influence relationship to enact change, they shed the labels of manager and smart follower.
They just become equals.
Yes, they become collaborators. They are mutually influencing each other as equals to solve a problem.
Wow.
And to make that transition work, people skills like communication, empathy, conflict resolution, those are placed right at the center of the capability model for everyone in the organization.
Because you can't collaborate if you lack relational awareness.
Exactly.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. Because I'm imagining taking this new dictionary, walking into a boardroom tomorrow, and telling a table of executives that leadership isn't about being in charge.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I'm telling them they need to become equals with their frontline workers. They are going to throw decades of classic beloved business advice right in my face.
Oh, they have whole libraries of TD 1.0 quotes ready to deploy against you.
Right, so let's pressure test this new model. I want to throw 3 famous quotes at you, ideas that people genuinely love and post on LinkedIn every day, and let's see how the TD 2.0 dictionary reframes them.
Bring it on.
I'll start with Simon Sinek. He famously said, leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in your charge.
Okay.
Now, people eat this up. It feels incredibly empathetic, like the opposite of a toxic boss. Where does TD 2.0 find friction with that?
It does sound incredibly kind on the surface. But when you look closer, this quote creates what our sources label the paternalism reframe.
Paternalism?
Yeah, it secretly relies on a shepherd and flock mindset.
You're saying it treats adult employees like, dependent children?
Precisely. It assumes the workforce is this group of vulnerable corporate children who require a benevolent caretaker looking after them from above.
Which strips away their agency.
And their competence. The TD 2.0 reframe addresses this by saying, leadership isn't about looking after those beneath you. It is a relational alliance among adult collaborators who empower one another to drive significant change.
Oh, notice how that preserves the empathy but entirely restores the equality. You're not managing ship. You are collaborating with capable adults.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. You want colleagues, not dependents. Okay, quote number 2. This is a massive one from Peter Drucker.
Okay.
Management is doing things right. Leadership is doing the right things. It's catchy, it's punchy, but looking at it now, it feels like it degrades the concept of management.
It severely degrades it. This quote is the poster child for what the sources call functional conflation.
Functional conflation.
Yeah, it blurs the lines completely. It implies that management is just mindless, robotic execution, just doing things right, while leadership holds all the strategic moral high ground.
It falls right back into the synonym trap.
Yeah.
It frames leadership as just a highly strategic management style.
Right, rather than a separate relational dynamic. So the TD 2.0 reframe pulls these two critical functions apart so we can respect both of them.
And what's the reframe?
Management ensures order through authority. Leadership enacts change through an interactive relationship of influence. They are 2 distinct mechanisms.
You need order to operate, and you need influence to change.
The pitchfork and the shovel, both are useful, but you have to know which one you're holding.
Perfectly said. Okay, 3rd quote. Jack Welch.
Let's hear it.
He said, when you become a leader, success is about growing others. Again, this feels like fantastic mentorship. Very selfless.
But look at the directional flow of that statement. This leads to the development reframe. It assumes that human growth only ever flows downward.
Ah, I see.
It suggests that the moment you get a promotion and a new title, you're suddenly imbued with this magical ability to pour wisdom into the empty vessels beneath you.
It's a very static, hierarchical view of how people learn. It assumes the manager has nothing left to learn from the frontline worker.
Which, in an AI-driven world, is demonstrably false. The frontline worker using the new technology often knows far more about the shifting reality of the work than the executive does.
Right.
So the TD 2.0 reframe shifts the dynamic. It says, success is not about growing others from above. It is the mutual development that occurs when collaborators influence one another.
Development happens in the friction of the interaction. I love the elegance of that mutual influence.
It's powerful.
But let me push back on this, because I can hear the skeptics.
Okay, go for it.
If we just democratize everything, if we say authority doesn't matter for leadership and everyone is mutually influencing each other, doesn't that just lead to organizational anarchy?
That's a common fear.
Can we just hand out saxophones, skip the management phase entirely, and go straight to playing jazz?
Absolutely not. And that is a crucial non-negotiable point in David Elser's work.
Yeah.
You cannot skip the foundational steps.
So you need the order first.
Yes. The jazz ensemble analogy is perfect here.
Mm-hmm.
You can't improvise with a group if you haven't mastered your scales. You must first master smart followership and management.
You have to earn the right to collaborate.
You have to do the chores. Without the discipline, the order, and the baseline competence, you won't have the foundational trust required to step into that mutual influence relationship.
Because nobody wants to collaborate with someone who isn't competent at their basic job responsibilities.
Exactly. Collaboration is the ultimate outcome of mastering the fundamentals. It's never a replacement for them.
So bringing this all together, what does this all mean for you, the listener? If you are an L&D professional, how do you actually apply this framework tomorrow morning?
It means a radical shift in how, where, and to whom we deliver training. If we accept that leadership is a relationship between people, and that individual contributors perform 80 to 90% of the actual work, we have to stop hoarding training budgets for the few people at the top of the org chart.
We have to get the training to the deskless worker, the factory floor operator, the retail staff.
Yes. For an AI-enabled workforce, you must build training ecosystems where the learning meets the contributor exactly where the work is happening.
Like using AI task coaches or living QR codes and real-time digital hubs.
Exactly.
But how do those specific tools actually enable talent development 2.0? How does an AI task coach, replace a pitchfork?
Well, think about the mechanism. Historically, if a frontline worker faced a problem, they had to stop work and find a manager with authority to dictate the solution.
The manager was a bottleneck for knowledge.
Right. Today, an AI task coach or a living QR code attached to a machine can instantly provide that worker with standard operating procedures and troubleshooting steps.
So the technology handles the management function, the order, and consistency.
Yes. This empowers the worker to act as a smart follower, applying the knowledge immediately. And when a novel problem arises that the AI can't fix, the worker now has the baseline competence and data to step into a leadership relationship.
They can collaborate with peers or engineers to influence a new solution rather than just waiting for orders.
Exactly. It flattens the hierarchy by democratizing the knowledge. The tools handle the routine order, freeing the humans to handle the complex relationships.
It's time to take the pitchfork out of the barn. It is time to embrace David Elser's movement and start doing the chores.
Start doing the chores.
We have to get our hands dirty laying this new groundwork, building the discipline, the trust, and the competence across the entire workforce. We need to build systems where managers can truly manage, where smart followers can enthusiastically support, and where, when meaningful change is inevitably required, those same people can merge seamlessly into true collaborator.
And this raises an important question, something for everyone listening to really mull over as you look at your own org charts.
What's that?
If we genuinely accept that leadership is a dynamic relationship between people and not some heroic trait stored inside a single person's DNA, what would happen to your organization's culture if you woke up tomorrow and completely eliminated the word leader from every single job title, email signature, and training manual?
Wow. It really makes you wonder who would be left standing around holding a pitchfork and who would be ready to pick up a shovel.
Welcome back from that deep dive. What did you think of it? Did it make you want to go get a pitchfork and help a farmer clean the barn? Yeah, you'll have to let me know your answer to that question in the comments. But, I'll be honest with you. Every time I do one of these AI chore casts and I put the information in to AI, I actually learn from these myself, and I'm the one creating it. Well, let's correct that statement. I am not creating it. I am prompting AI to create it. But I'll have to admit, this one really, I really picked up a few things myself. Now, there's a quick hallucination that I want to bring your attention to. The definition of smart followership is my definition of smart followership. It's not Dr. Robert Kelly's, so that was actually a hallucination. I learned a lot from Robert Kelly, and I leverage his thought process and his followership style models, or his followership model in doing the chores. I do convert them to farm animals because, hey, that farming theme, like I said earlier, that's what I do. So what did you think about when AI really started offering different takes on the popular leadership quotes? I just found that fascinating, and it really, really spoke to me. But the key is really understanding that leadership is not something a leader does. Leadership is a relationship. Leadership is collaboration and action. It's a social phenomenon. It's not higher level management in talent development 2.0. So yeah, I know this is a change, but I encourage you to go to doingthechores.com, read my book, Doing the Chores, and I think that will really help introduce yourself to this concept. Also, feel free to reach out. I would be happy to share some literature and some more information on talent development 2.0. But you know what? Where we're going, I don't know. All I know is AI is definitely going to be the tool that we're going to have to learn to collaborate with in order to get there. And forward-thinking people like like Matthew Chakowski, Dr. Robert Kelly, those individuals basically are the ones that are really inspiring me to think differently about, talent development. And hopefully I'm doing a good service on paying forward that message. So until next time, make sure you go out there and create a great memory for someone today. And I really appreciate you listening and following me on Doing the Chores, and hopefully you're enjoying these AI Chore Casts. I'll talk to you soon.